Next on the list, I'm going to work from the top down here on the defensive side of the ball. We've got the safety room. We've got an interesting one. So we've got, going out, the heart and soul of last year's defense, Tawfiq Bayard, 6'1", 195, graded as a 88 and a 91, 247 to on 3. So a little bit of a disparity there. I personally tend to lean more to the 91. I thought he was great for the Buffs last season. Carter Stoutmeyer, 5'11", 210, 86, 87, depending on where you look. John Slaughter, 6'2", 210, 85, 86, same deal. TJ Branch didn't play a whole lot for the Buffs in his freshman season, 6'3", 170. I think weighs a little bit more than that, but that's just what I had seen on his recruiting profile. 85, 86. And then Terrence Love, 6'2", 200 at a 84, and then actually not ranked on 3. So on the inverse side, we've got Boo Carter coming in from Tennessee, 5'11", 200. 93, 92, so graded super well by both platforms. Randon Fontinet coming in from Vandy. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that okay. 6'2", 220, 86, 88. And then Jaden Hardy, 5'10", 180, 86, 87. And then Nathan Mitchell coming in. Oh, sorry, Jaden Hardy. I did spell that wrong. It's D-A-N, not D-E-N. Coming in from Oklahoma. And then Nathan Mitchell coming in from New Mexico State. 5'10", 175, 85, 86, 247 versus on 3. So what a bit of an interesting, like Boo Carter obviously graded out or ranked out as higher than Tawfiq Bayard. You lose a couple of rotational guys in Carter and John as well. But you bring in some high-level talent in Fontinet and Mitchell as well. We'll get into the grades here next. Awesome. Let me go ahead and share my screen. We'll jump into some of the number stuff. I will say again, if you guys are enjoying the content, please do subscribe, like, comment, share. It helps me, continue to be able to do some of this work. It was, a lot of hours gathering all this information into one place. But I do appreciate you guys staying locked in with me and talking about some of the guys that are going to be Buffs or not Buffs. Boo Carter. At Tennessee last season, 5'11", 200 pounds. Some off the field issues prevented him from, really playing the full season. Let me take a drink of water here. But overall, a really highly touted, highly talented player coming out of Tennessee. Was mostly a slot corner, some safety, so some questions there as to where he's going to play on the Buffs. 63.7 overall, 74.4 in run defense, which is really cool. 61.4 as a tackler, and then 60.1 in coverage. Also does some special team stuff. I'm not going to cover that right now, but played more as a freshman, where he had a 75.9 in run defense and then an 81.3 in pass rush, but got a little bit better, overall in less minutes. So I expect him to play a lot for the Buffs, barring that all the off the field stuff and character concerns are all cleared up and a thing of the past. But hopefully he grades out as one of the Buffs' highest rated defenders this season. Next on the list coming in, I'm realizing I'm doing this as an inverse for the defense, but we're just going to roll with it. We got Randon Fontinet coming in from Vandy, also listed as a cornerback, but I think played mostly safety. Yep. As a starter over at Vandy, 68.2 overall, 72.6 as a tackler, which is really good. 67.5 in run defense, 69.5 in coverage, in roughly 800 total snaps played. So a lot of really good experience, played really well against Auburn here, had some dip games, a little bit of inconsistency overall, but as a tackler, graded out really well. And then he played at TCU in his freshman season, limited action, graded out really well in tackling. And then Vandy as a sophomore, also had some pretty good grades, 65.7, and just kind of consistently above average across the board there. So should fill out that safety room as a potential starting safety next to Boo or somebody else that, has got a lot of consistent production, especially in wrapping up on tackles, which was a struggle for us last year. Jaden Hardy, again, apologies for spelling his name wrong. I think I'm, more used to the Jaden Hardy, the basketball player, which I think is Jaden, but I digress. Safety for Oklahoma, 5'10", 180. Played as a rotational piece at free safety for Oklahoma this season, 58.5 overall in 163 snaps. He's got a 51.7 in run defense, 35.5 in tackling. Not great, but some games, Tennessee and Alabama played really well in that limited action, and then some games did not play that well. Roughly an average for coverage grade. And then in his prior year, where he also saw less action, graded even better. But we'll see how he grades out coming to the Buffs, teaming up, I think, with former teammate Kari Vickers, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure if they ever actually saw the field together or if maybe the timing aligns. But either way, another Oklahoma guy coming into the Buffs. And then on the other side, too, Nathan Mitchell, actually same side, coming in from New Mexico State. Nathan Mitchell, 5'11", 175 as a starter for New Mexico State all season. Switched between strong safety and free safety, 63.6 overall. Some grades that, again, a little bit of inconsistency here. Played really well against Sam Houston, 88.6 in coverage. But on the season, 845 total snaps. So a guy that is on the field a lot. 57.3 in tackling and then 67.2 in coverage. So curious to know what that inconsistency is about, but we'll find out once he gets some consistent minutes for the Buffs at safety. In his prior year at New Mexico State, he did not play too much, but graded out pretty well in tackling. So we'll see where the mean sits there, where the average is for Nathan Mitchell. On the inverse side, we are losing Tawfiq Bayard, heading to team up with Brandon Davis-Swain at Texas A&M. We've got started season, did not start a couple of games, not sure entirely what that was about, but started the back half of the season, got progressively better as he did go on. 75.0 overall on defense, 72.2 in run defense, 78.9 in coverage. Yeah, just an absolute animal. I'm going to miss Tawfiq a lot. One of the guys that definitely hurt my soul when I saw him, hitting the portal, but wish him the best. I think he's going to be a rock star in the SEC. So really great grades for him. He's graded out really well across his entire career. It's just a baller. Understands how to play that safety position super well in his 2 years at USF. So we'll see how he does in the SEC, but I think he's going to really make an impact for the Aggies. Another safety gone here as well. We got Carter Stoutmeyer, played some free safety, maybe some strong safety for the Buffs, mostly a starter. 461 total snaps. Kind of inconsistent, but 72.4 overall, 90.4 in run defense, big body at 210, and then 62.3. Not as much of a coverage guy, but definitely a hard hitter at that safety position. Let's see. In his 3 years at Colorado, graded out pretty well, pretty average. Again, above average, but pretty consistent in terms of his action at CU. Was a little bit better as a coverage guy in his prior year. Played a little bit of corner, I know, in that role as well. But we'll see how he ends up also in the SEC at Arkansas. So that'll be cool. Another safety, John Slaughter, heading to Purdue, 6'2", 200. I don't know if he's joining up with former Buff Miles Slusher. He might have graduated, but I know there's couple guys that I think that have ended up at Purdue from Colorado. Rotational safety for us, back and forth between strong safety, free safety, 55.4 overall. Didn't have the best season, 54.9 in tackling, and then 53.6 in coverage. Was at Tennessee before that, didn't play a whole lot, but had some good grades while he was there in his limited action. Will be interesting to see how much he plays at Purdue, and if he ends up getting, consistent playing time and minutes while he's there. Another guy who didn't play very much at CU, heading over to UCF, TJ Branch, a guy that I personally was really excited about. I know a lot of us fans were super excited about. 6'3", 170. Again, I think his weight is actually higher than that, but saw some action in the spring game. Looked really good in the spring game, and then just wasn't seen again. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if he pops onto the scene next year at UCF. Was a highly touted 4-star coming out of high school. Just something happened, I guess, and he didn't end up playing at CU. So we'll see, how he ends up with the Knights, and again, another guy that's staying in conference. And then last guy, a guy that was off the team pretty early. I think he hit the portal or was expected to enter the portal pretty early on, like October, November-ish. 6'2", 210. He's still in the portal, if I remember correctly. I think I saw a tweet saying he's still in the portal. Played in one game in rotation minutes against Georgia Tech, and then we just never saw him again. So something happened there. Came in from Auburn originally, where he didn't play a whole lot. Has actually gone down in terms of his overall usage in his 3 years in college. So we'll be interesting to see where he ends up. Maybe he goes down a level and tries to get that bounce back here so he can just get some good film for himself. That is it for the safety room. Next on the list, we've got our corners. So cornerback position, there's a lot of changes here. This is an interesting one. So on the way out, we've got, one of our better cornerbacks, highly touted by Coach Prime as a first-round potential pick. DJ McKinney, 6'2", 180, rated as a 91 overall on both platforms. We've also got Randon Parks, who's actually the second highest graded corner by both of those platforms. 6'1", 180, heading over to TCU. DJ McKinney is heading to Notre Dame, as we'll get to. Noah King, 6'2", 200, came over from Kansas State originally. 86, 87, depending on which site you look at. And then Tyreek Davis came in from Wyoming, 5'10", 190. Ranked as an 86 by On3, not ranked by 247. And then three guys not ranked on either platform. I think all three were walk-ons: Kyle Carpenter, Braden Keith, and Nathaniel Watson, 6'3", 200, 5'10", 180, and 5'10", 180 as well, respectively. Pretty sure those three guys have not ended up anywhere from as far as I've seen. On the inverse, coming in, we got a couple of guys to be excited about. Coming in from Notre Dame, so a little bit of a swap there with DJ McKinney. We've got Cree Thomas. Drop my AirPods case. 6'1", 187, 87, 88 overall, depending on the platform that you look at. Emery Floyd coming in from App State, 6'1", 195, 86, 87. From JMU, Justin Eaglin, 6'1", 175, 86, 87. Jason Stokes Jr., this is an interesting one. 6'1", 184 from Utah. Not ranked by 247, but an 88 overall on 3. Jaja Boyd coming in from Indiana, 5'11", 173, not ranked on 247, but 87 by On3. On3 seems to have like a majority of their players ranked. For some reason, 247 doesn't rank every player. So maybe it's just like a staffing issue or they can't get around to it. And then Paul, I'm going to butcher this. I'm going to say it's Omodia, but it could be Omodia. I'm not entirely sure. Coming in from Lamar, 6'2", 184, 85 by On3. Or by 247, but not ranked on On3. So interesting one there. I don't know where On3 is missing the mark on that one. But let's go ahead and dive into some of the numbers. Rounding this out again, let me know as we're going through the defensive side of the ball, how you feel. Did the safety room get better? Is the cornerback room getting better? Are they getting worse? Just let me know in the comments. It's super helpful for the channel. Let's see here. Let's move on down. I'm just scrolling through a million names that have been in my tabs here. Oh, goodness. All right. So we're going to start with who's departing. So let's start with DJ McKinney, right? So heading over to Notre Dame, 6'2", 180. Starter for CU at that cornerback position was definitely CB1. Graded out pretty well early on. Trailed off a little bit as the season went on. Just under 600 snaps, 66.6 overall on defense. Some inconsistency in his tackling. TCU and Iowa State was played pretty well, but against Utah and BYU did not play as well. Coverage slightly above average, 64.2 overall, and then run defense, 72.4. Pretty consistent all year, which is pretty good to see. In his 2 seasons prior to Colorado at Oklahoma State, graded above average pretty well, up to a 68.8 in his first meaningful playing time at Oklahoma State. And then last season for CU, graded super well. In almost 900 snaps, 74.3 overall, 81.8 in tackling, and 75.3 in coverage. There's been some rumors and speculation about DJ and some of his motivations off the field and some of that stuff. I'm not going to get into that today, but we hope that he, has a great season at Notre Dame and really ends up being that true first-round talent that he can be for the Fighting Irish. Next on the list, we have Randon Parks heading over to TCU, linking up with Sonny Dykes, which is exciting for the Horned Frogs. 6'1", 180. On and off starter for the Buffs, played mostly in that just standard cornerback. 51.3 overall on his grade, 39.7 in tackling. This was one of the ones that some games played super well. Other games did not tackle very well. So I don't really know what was going on there. Same deal up here in the beginning of the season. Lost his bumped up to a starter and then bumped back down. So just pretty inconsistent. I think he came in from, Illinois State prior to that. Played a bunch at Illinois State, graded really well at that lower level. But once he made the jump up, he just didn't have as great of a year as maybe we were hoping for in that CB3, CB4 role. But really good run defense. So we'll see how he plays at TCU, another guy staying in conference. So we're going to see a bunch of former Buffs as the season goes on. And we're wishing Tayon the best as well. Noah King did not play for CU. Came in from Kansas State, 6'2", 200. For some reason, couldn't see the field. He's on to his third school. Oh, yeah, I don't think he's actually committed anywhere yet, but will be on to his third school as a high-ranking 4-star coming out of high school. So wish Noah King the best, but a guy that I was personally hoping would stick around. Tyrekus Davis, most well known for his diving interception in fall camp, but then just didn't see the field for whatever reason. 5'10", 190, played in 3 games, limited action, 12 snaps, just under a hair under 50 overall, and then 61.1 as a run defender. Graded really well while he was at Wyoming, played a bunch, and then just for some reason, I don't know if it's the size thing. I know Coach Prime really likes his corners to be big and have a big wingspan. So might have been it, but wherever Tyrekus ends up, I think he's going to make an impact as one of those shorter corners. And then a couple of guys just to breeze through. Kyle Carpenter did not play. I think he came in from Carrollton or Buford. It might have been Buford as a walk-on initially, but he is still in the portal. So we'll see where he ends up. And then Braden Keith. There actually isn't a PFF page for Nathaniel Watson, so I'm just doing Braden Keith. Did play 1 game at free safety, 5 snaps. I guess he made a tackle, and so he graded out pretty well in tackling. In his prior seasons at CU, he's only played 15 total snaps. Again, good tackler. So wherever Braden Keith ends up, hopefully he gets a chance to really show what he's made of in some real action. Let me know in the comments. I'm going to say this every single time. Apologies, but let me know how you think the cornerbacks. Was that a good swap out? Losing DJ, but bringing in some of these other guys. Depth appears to be something that was a priority, and I think we brought in a lot of guys that ultimately. Oh, and I'm realizing I didn't even get a couple of those other guys too, but Stokes, Jaja Boyd. Oh yeah, wait, hold on. I'm realizing. Sorry, I just skipped the whole guys coming in. Let me get back to that. Been a long video so far, but let me get to the guys that we are bringing in. Okay, on the flip side of the ball, we're going to start with Cree Thomas. So the swap out that we had with Notre Dame, Cree Thomas coming in, highly ranked coming out of high school, only played in 3 games at Notre Dame as a rotational cornerback, 30 total snaps, 65.7 overall, 73.5 in tackling, but highly rated out of high school, highly graded in the portal. So we'll see what he becomes. 6'1", 189 for the Buffs. Emery Floyd coming in from App State, teammates with defensive lineman who we'll get to, Dylan Manuel. Starter at cornerback for App State, graded really well in both run defense and tackling, as well as pretty well in coverage too. 69.4 overall in just under 850 total snaps. Played at South Carolina before that, didn't play a whole lot, but once he got his minutes at App State, he really developed super well. So it will be interesting to see if he gets a starting spot at the cornerback room or if he'll be more of a rotational guy, but good size and measurables there. Justin Eaglin coming in from James Madison, 6'1", 175. Anyone that was recruited to James Madison, I am okay with. 74.7 overall, really great. 72.7 in coverage, 78.5 in run defense. Mostly a starter at cornerback, just under 700 total snaps. Played a little bit in his prior 2 seasons, but graded out really well last season. So this is a guy I could see as a starter. Time will tell. But again, good measurables overall. Jason Stokes Jr. coming in from Utah, only played in 2 games against Baylor and Nebraska. graded out pretty well in both of those in 29 total snaps, 70.1 overall, 74.2 in tackling, and then a just under 70 in coverage in his freshman season. So 6'2", 184, good measurables. I know Coach Prime is going to love that. We'll see if he gets a chance to really crack the rotation in his sophomore season. Might be his redshirt freshman. Some of these guys, if I'm saying, I'm just going off the years that they've played, so I might be wrong in their actual eligibility, but you get what I'm going for. Next one, we got Ja Boyd, otherwise known as Jaja Boyd, listed as a safety, played for Indiana in some spot minutes. They were a really good team with a really good secondary, so really cool to see him get some minutes on such an elite roster. 5'11", 188. Didn't play too much, but 90.1 overall, which is just laughable. These grades are amazing. 89.7 in coverage, 85.4 in tackling. I mean, like, consistently a good tackler. So that's what you love to see. And I think he was a 4 or high 3-star coming out of high school. So this is a guy I'm excited about. Definitely has some of the traits that this defensive staff is looking for. And then the last one here, Paul Omadia. I'm going to just go with that again. 6'2", 194 coming out of Lamar, a starter at cornerback for them all season, just a hair under 750 total snaps, 74.5 overall, 87.2 in tackling, which is amazing. We love to see that given some of the struggles we had in tackling last season. 80.4 overall in run defense, and then 72.3 in coverage. Played at Illinois State, similar to McKinney Parks. I'm not sure if they were teammates, but in the years prior, in increasing minutes, he got better each season. Just good overall defender, grades really well. And then again, 6'2", 194, good measurables there on the defensive side of the ball. So, sorry, I almost skipped that one, but there's your cornerback room, the in versus the out. Let me know. Did we get better? Did we get worse? What are your thoughts? And then a couple more positions to round this out here, and then we should be good to wrap up. We've got our linebackers. Interesting here. So first one on the list going out is Reggie Hughes. At first, I had seen that he was declaring for the draft, but then I also saw that he was going into the portal. I did see on 247, I believe, that he had submitted the paperwork, but his Twitter page does not show that he actually appears to be entering the portal. Haven't seen anything about a commit. I don't know what's going on with Reggie Hughes. We're just going to mark him as being out. 6'2", 225, 86 overall on both platforms. Again, got that because he was listed as being in the portal. Mantrez Walker, freshman, didn't play a whole lot for the Buffs. 6'1", 230, 84, 85. Heading out to, I think, UAB. Double check that one. And then Sean Myers, who is going to UAB. I know that one. That much. 6'1", 220, not ranked on 247, but at 87 on 3. So technically would have been the highest graded linebacker if we got the 247 number. Would have seen what their grade was. On the flip side, Leona, I've heard it's Lefau. I keep wanting to say Lefau, for obvious reasons in Buff lore. And then 6'1", 227, 90 overall on both 247 and on 3. Gideon Lampron, 6 foot, 220, 85, 88, a little bit of a discrepancy there depending on the platform you look at. And he's coming in from Bowling Green. And Tyler Martinez, 6'2", 225, 85, 86, depending on the platform. Leona coming in from Texas. I don't know if I mentioned that, but interesting trade-off here. We'll dive into the numbers next. Share my screen. Okay, let's see if we can get to these without too much of a hassle. So on the way out, we've got Reggie Hughes. Linebacker, 6'2", 225, mostly a starter, got benched later in the season and a couple of early starts as well. Pretty inconsistent, unfortunately, for the Buffs. 54.7 overall and about 515 total snaps. 90.3 as a tackler, which is really interesting. I actually didn't realize he was graded that well as tackler. 55.4 in run defense, 44.3 in coverage. More of a downhill guy, if I remember correctly. He was known for being a downhill linebacker, more of a thumper type, not as good in coverage, unfortunately. In his prior years, played 2 seasons at Ole Miss and then one at Jacksonville State. Right around the average, played really well in some limited minutes early on in the SEC. But again, to be determined whether or not he ends up Going to the draft, looking for another year eligibility. I'm not entirely sure, but we wish Reggie the best in his next stop. Next guy on the list, Montrezl Walker, played in one game at linebacker against Utah in that blowout loss. 2 total snaps, 4-star coming out of high school, guy that I thought was going to have a real shot, but is, going to a slightly lower level to get some good film and some good playing time. Had an offer, I believe, from Texas Tech. So, a guy that I think is going to develop really well, and you could see his name in some conversations as one of the top linebackers in the future, but we'll see. 62.8 overall, didn't play a whole lot. We'll see how he ends up. And then Sean Myers is definitively going to UAB, the Blazers. Played good amount for CU later in the season. Like, it's super weird. Started out, played really well early on against these 3 teams, and then just didn't play after that. And I don't know what was going on with that linebacker room. When he got his minutes, he played well per PFF. So 70.1 overall, 74.0 in coverage, good run defender. I think UAB's got a baller. I'm happy for Sean Myers because I think he's a good linebacker overall. Played some years at Northern Alabama before that, roughly just above average in varying amounts of playing time. And then on the inverse, coming in from Texas, Leona Leafau, 6'1", 227, consistent playing time for Texas at middle linebacker as a starter, 61.7 overall and just over 450 total snaps, 76.4 in run defense. So something that the Buffs need at the linebacker position. Some inconsistencies against some of these teams. Mississippi State didn't play well, but graded out really well at the end of the season against Texas A&M. 65.4 in tackling, not as great in coverage, 46.9, but I think some of the other guys that the Buffs brought in will supplement that. 3 years at Texas, played a little bit more in his sophomore season, better tackling grade, but got better in run defense this past season. So we'll see how he ends up grading for the Buffs. And then let me close some of these tabs here, save myself some headache. There we go. Cool. Gideon ESPN Lampron, coming in from Bowling Green, 6 foot 220. Middle linebacker, started every game, team captain, graded exceptionally well for Bowling Green. 86.9 overall, 85.3 in run defense, 77 in tackling, 81.8 in pass rush, 69.7 in coverage. Just over 750 total snaps. Your true sideline to sideline linebacker. Playing even better last season at Dayton, or the season prior to that, at a 92.7 overall. This kid's a baller. This kid is going to be your starting middle linebacker from day one. Hopefully he's a team captain. Great kid, great story, and just a baller on the field. So I like how they put Bowl Green instead of Bowling Green. And then the last guy on here as well, Tyler Martinez, teammates with Nathan Mitchell, coming in, a guy that didn't play as much. I think he had an injury, if I remember correctly. 62.7 and just over 200 snaps, 73.2 in tackling, and then 71.6 in coverage from a little bit more of a coverage guy. But played a bunch more the season prior, 70.4 overall, 75.1 in run defense, and then a 62.3 in coverage. A guy that Nathan Mitchell, if I remember correctly, said would die on the field if he could or had to. So another guy that has got a little bit of that will in him, might not play totally a Mike, but I think you've got your 3 core linebackers there that they brought in. So with that being said, let me know, did the Buffs get better at linebacker? Did they get worse? You let me know. Put me in the comments section. I hope you're still following along here. I want to see what your answers are at the total end of this. 2 more. We're getting into the defensive line. So bringing up the edge room here. So on the way out, a couple of highly touted guys that were tough losses for the Buffs. High school kids coming out of IMG, London Merritt and Alex McPherson. 6'3", 250 for Merritt, 87, 89, depending on the platform. And then for McPherson, 6'6", 240, 86 on both. Merritt is going to Clemson and McPherson is going to Penn State. So both of them getting a jump up to arguably a higher level of competition, and will be monsters at that next level. Sam Okunlola didn't play very much for the Buffs. We'll get into that. 6'4", 250, not ranked on 247, but at 87 on 3. And then Nikhil Webb-Walker, after recovering from cancer, is leaving the Buffs, I think heading to Northern Arizona, 6'6", 275, not ranked in an 84 by on 3. Coming in for the Buffs, Toby Anin, I want to say, 6'4", 259, 87, 88, coming in from NDSU. That's North Dakota, just in case you guys North Dakota State. Vili Taufatafua, hoping that's correct, 6'3", 259, 86, 87, depending on the platform. Lamont Lester Jr. coming in from Monmouth, 6'2", 230, 86, 87 as well. Emmanuel Manny Eziogu, hoping that's correct, 6'2", 246, 86 on both platforms. Balansama Kamara, 6'3", 257, 85, 86. And then Yamil Talib coming in from Charlotte. Keep Talib's cousin, nephew, one of those two. 6'2", 240, 85, 80, 84. It's always interesting when 247 grades higher than on 3, because it's usually the inverse, as you guys have been able to see so far. Let's go ahead and look at some grades. All right, sharing my screen now. Let's take a look at, let's go top to bottom. Let's start with London Merritt. So London Merritt, one of the guys that I know a lot of people wanted the Buffs to keep, played rotation minutes, was never really a true starter for the Buffs in his freshman season. Just over 300 total snaps, graded really well, 72.5 overall, 76.5 in run defense. Got better as the season went on, pretty consistent. There was a couple of games where I remember he was the highest rated Buff on defense, like this BYU game. He played really well. I remember seeing him all over the field, and just his freshman season. So he's going to get better. He's going to get coached up at Clemson, who has a great history of disruptive edges. So we'll see how London Merritt ends up for the Tigers. On the other side, we got Alexander McPherson heading to Penn State with Matt Campbell. So not staying in conference, but going to a conference head coach. 6'6", 240, also wasn't really a starter, but played pretty good minutes, 211 snaps as a freshman, 63.6 overall, played really well against Houston, but the rest of the grades around average, slightly below average, but a really great player and should do super well in Penn State, which again also has a history of developing really, really great edge players. So I think that's a good spot for him. Sam Ogunlola, I believe, signed with Mizzou today, so congrats to him. 6'4", 250. I thought he was going to Miami, but heading to Mizzou, if I remember correctly. Only played in one game. Had heard some rumors that he was off the team pretty early. Didn't end up, maybe had some disagreements about some certain things. That's not a report. That's just speculation. 65.7 overall, but was really good last year. That's the disappointing part. 83.8 in tackling, was really disruptive on the Buffs defensive line, in that last Shedeur and Travis season in roughly 450 total snaps. But for whatever reason, didn't play this year. Might have had an injury, might have had some off the field stuff. Who knows? But Missouri is getting a high level talent on the edge. And then lastly, to Nikhil Webb-Walker, Northern Arizona Lumberjacks. This is the first I have learned that Northern Arizona has a college and that they're called the Lumberjacks. 6'6", 275, recovering from cancer again. It's amazing that he was even able to play at all this season. 10 total snaps, 66.0 overall. Has graded consistently well, coming in from New Mexico State prior to that. So I'm hoping that, at that lower level, Northern Arizona, he ends up just being a monster. That would be such a cool comeback story. I've got one of his shirts. I bought it from the NIL store. So would love to see him thrive. On the inverse, coming in from North Dakota State, as we mentioned, Toby Anin, 6'4", 259, 83.7 overall. Really great numbers in 470 total snaps, 90.1 in pass rush, so a pass rush demon, 68.4 in run defense, disciplined guy, high motor, super excited about this one. And then, got better every single season with continued playing time. Graded out really well last season too. So a guy that I think could be a day one starter. We'll see. Vili Taufatafua, I apologize if I'm butchering that, 6'3", 259, coming in from San Jose State as a starter for them on the edge, 71.7 overall, 71.7 in pass rush, 65.8 in run defense. Came in from Utah prior to that, but didn't really play. But a guy that is young and is going to get some good minutes on the edge for the Buffs as well. Lamont Lester Jr., 6'2", 230, coming in from Monmouth. really great grades. Just over 450 total snaps, 91.4 overall, super consistent. Another edge demon in the pass rush, 92.7 overall there, 76.8 in run defense in his one season at Monmouth. I'm not sure if he had been at a prior level before that or if he's just young. I think he's just young. So a guy that's coming up a level and hopefully will have his production translate pretty well. Emmanuel Eziogo, I hope. 6'2", 240 coming in. Also from James Madison, played as a rotational player on the edge. 185 total snaps, 65.3 in total run defense, or in total defense grade. 73.0 as a run defender. Played really well against Dominion, kind of as an outside linebacker, so maybe not a true edge, but more that hybrid outside linebacker. And then 61.8 in pass rush. Not great in coverage, but we'll see. Only played one snap the year before, so I'm not even going to count that. Balansama Kamara coming in from Albany. Played really well for Albany, 83.5 overall and just under 650 total snaps, 86.0 in run defense, 81.2 in pass rush. Graded out super, super well for the Albany. I want to say they're like the Great Danes or something. I don't, maybe I'm wrong on that. But graded out super well for them. Was at Temple 2 years prior to that. Once he got more minutes, he got better, gets better every single year, good size and good frame. So we will see how he ends up developing at CU. And then Yamil Talib played in some spot starts, some rotation minutes on the edge, 79.0 overall for Charlotte in 74 total snaps, 74.5 in run defense, 68.8 in pass rush, and 86.0 in coverage, which is really interesting. Not that many coverage snaps, though. Didn't play very much at Oklahoma State prior to that. So another guy, good size, good measurables. Got some NFL pedigree coming in on his family side. We will see how he develops. All right, we are almost through here. I know we are coming up on an hour and a half in, so I appreciate you guys staying in. Let me know how you feel about the edge room. I keep moving my camera like this, but we'll go ahead and just breeze through the last one here. On the defensive line, heading out, some big names, some big grades. Jaheim Otis, 6'5", 325, 87-88 overall, heading to Ole Miss. Brandon Davis-Swain, 6'4", 290, 86-87, heading to Texas A&M. Tawfiq Thomas, 6'4", 300, 86-86. Christian Hudson, heading to BC, Boston College, 6'1", 300, 85-86. Gabriel Lightfoot, 6'3", 310. He might have ended up, one of the two of them between him and Tavian Coleman is at SDSU. I think it's Lightfoot, 85-86. And then Tavian Coleman, 6'1", 300. Not ranked by 247, but an 87 by on3. So interesting there. Coming in on the other side of the ball, we got Santana Hopper from Tulane, 6'2", 265, 87-91 per the platforms. Cedric Smith from Maryland, 6'4", 321, 87-86. Ezra Christensen from New Mexico State, I think, or New Mexico, one of those two. 6'2", 280, 86-89. Dylan Manuel from App State, who we had on the show. Go watch that interview. Great guy, great dude. 6'1", 300, 86-87. Samu Taimuna Pepe, that's my guess. Coming in from Baylor, 6'3", 375, so big boy. 86-84. And then Tyler Moore coming in from Coastal Carolina, 6 foot, 297, 86-86. Let's breeze through these grades really quick, and then we will go ahead and round this all out. We're going to start with Jaheim Otis. So Jaheim Otis, infamous in Buffland for just being paid a lot and didn't produce a whole lot and had some, why did I jump over? Okay. Yeah, there we go. Cool. So we've got Jaheim Otis. Sorry, my tab switched on me by accident. 258 total snaps, 64.2 overall. Just didn't really, pan out here at CU. He's heading over to Ole Miss. I hope he has a better year there in the SEC. Maybe he just wants to play better on the bigger stage, but just not really the production for the money that we spent in that portal. And I hate to, make this into like a dollar comparison, but like that's the world that we live in this sport. So unfortunately, just want to make sure that we're being realistic about that. Played 3 seasons at Alabama, saw limited action, similar action, played really well as a freshman and then kind of went down from there. Brandon Davis-Swain in his true redshirt freshman season, mostly a starter for CU. Okay grades, 61.4 overall in 350 total snaps, 62.2 in pass rush, and then didn't play a whole lot in his true freshman season before he redshirted. Was a starter, 6'4", 290, heading over to the SEC, teaming up with Tawfiq Bayard. We'll see how the Aggies develop him. Tawfiq Thomas, we will see him week 1 at Georgia Tech, along with Savion Riley, and there's one other guy. I'm blanking on that. Played in 4 games for the Buffs, 95 total snaps, 81.3 overall, graded really well in those games. I'm not sure. I can't remember if he had an injury or something else. 74.4 in run defense and 81.2 in pass rush. That was by far his best season. Came from Louisville prior to that, didn't really play. In his more action the season prior, didn't grade all that well, but we'll see at Georgia Tech if they can develop him into maybe some of the potential that he has on that defensive front. Christian Hudson heading over to BC. Didn't play much as a freshman, 18 total snaps, 60.4 overall, 62.2 in run defense. BC, hopefully you develop him. High 4-star coming out of high school. Good kid. I think he was nicknamed Baby Sap, if I remember correctly. Gabriel Lightfoot who is heading over to San Diego State, teaming up with Sean Lewis. Only played at special teams this year. So one of the two of them had an injury. I think both of them, Lightfoot and Coleman, both of them had injuries, but played a little bit more as a this is just a special team grades. But yeah, as you can tell, doesn't have anything else. So moving on from him, wish him the best. Tavian Coleman did play actually for the Buffs. Also had some injuries, 124 snaps, 62.2 overall, and then a 77.2 in tackling. Played a bunch at Texas State, graded really well for Texas State in prior seasons. We will see where he ends up, and we're wishing him the best. And then on the inverse, we have coming in from Tulane, Santana Hopper, 6'2", 265, graded really well for Tulane, who was in the college football playoff, if you remember. 660 total snaps, 80.4 overall, 81.4 in pass rush, 72.7 in run defense, and then some exceptional grades at App State the year prior. So just a guy that, has a lot of production coming in on the defensive line. So excited to see how that translates. Cedric Smith played at Maryland, 121 total snaps for him this past season in rotation minutes, 56.5 overall, 51.9 in run defense, which we don't love, but hopefully we'll see how that progresses. And then 61.5 in pass rush. Started at South Carolina State, moved over to Alabama A&M. Grades have gone down each year, but we'll see if he just needs a good opportunity to thrive. 6'4", 321, so big body there on the defensive line. This is a guy that I'm really excited about, Ezra Christensen, coming in from, let me check, New Mexico State. That's what I thought. So teammates with Nathan Mitchell, 6'2", 260. Some really great grades against Liberty, Missouri State, and Kennesaw State. 88.6 overall and just under 500 snaps. So exceptional grades. 88.3 in pass rush, 79.3 in run defense. This is a guy that's going to be a big body in the middle and also can be a threat in the pass rush game as well. Definitely his best season after coming over from Fresno State. So we'll see how Ezra develops with the Buffs. Friend of the show, Dylan Manuel, 6'1", 300 pounds, coming over from App State, 434 total snaps, 71.4 overall, 73.1 in run defense. Big body, could be a nose tackle, but played a little bit of some edge and tackle for the App State, I don't know, Mountaineers. Yeah. 68.8 in tackling and then 69.8 in pass rush. Graded really well in less snaps for Charles Southern, 80.8, but just a great guy. And somebody that is going to really help improve the morale of that defensive line room. Saimu Tamapepe, 376 pounds. We'll see how the Swayze regimen gets him right. It's a little big for to be a productive defensive tackle in the Power 4. 27 total snaps at Baylor as a nose tackle. 49.2 overall, 63.8 in run defense. Played at Texas A&M prior to that, didn't play a whole lot, had some good grades. I think he needs to lose a little bit of weight before he really gets some concrete minutes on the Buffs defensive line. And then lastly, Tyler Moore, Coastal Carolina, 6 foot, 295, played true nose tackle in rotation minutes for the Chanticleers, something like that. 129 total snaps, 71.9 overall, 71.5 in run defense, 65.8 in tackling, same grade in pass rush. And then was at Tennessee State prior to that, but surprisingly coming up a level in less minutes, he got better. So awesome. Last one that I had, I wasn't able to put a graphic on it for there, is special teams. We lost Alexander Stoyanovich, but we picked up Josh McCormick. So they don't even have PFF grades for those, I don't think. Maybe they do, but I couldn't fit a graphic in there. Either way, that is your side-by-side comparison, position by position, grades, measurables, rankings, everything that you need to know for the Buffs transfer portal haul thus far. Probably some guys that are going to come in a little bit later too. It's not always finished, but please, this was not easy. It took a good amount of time to get all this information and all the graphics. So if you would consider subscribing, liking, commenting down below, letting me know, did the Buffs get better? Did the Buffs get worse? What positions do we still need to work on? Share the video, put it on Twitter or X, and anything you do helps the channel a lot. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Miles at Miles High Buffs on X. Signing off. We'll be on live later this week, and appreciate you guys staying with me until the end. Go Buffs! Thank you guys.